Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, this is Spiguyver Backpacking, and today we've got an exciting one. We've got one that is probably the most requested video I've had in a long time. Every time I get out and I do a video that I've got this, or I mention this, or I'm on a podcast with somebody and we bring up this, I get a bunch of questions about how does the Dutchware gear Banyan compare to the Warbonnet Ridge Runner. And today, I've got both of them hung up. I've got the Banyan over here, I've got the Ridge Runner over here. This happens to be the new Ridge Runner, so this is the redesigned one, so it's got all of the redesigns in there. And this happens to be the newest version of the Banyan. Now the Banyan is not exactly available right now. There's been some delays in some of the production stuff, and it's really at no fault of Dutchware gear. They've got their stuff pretty much set up, but one of their vendors, one of the big main pieces of it, they're having trouble getting in, and so it's going to be a little bit of time before it's ready to get out there. But today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at both of these. We're going to talk about setup on both of them, what the differences are between them, advantages of some, disadvantages on the other side. So yeah, the pluses and minuses, the things that I like or dislike, and then I'm going to lay in both of them and tell you guys about the lay. Are they very similar? Are they dissimilar? What is it? What is it about them that would make you want to go one way or the other? So that's what we're going to do today. So let's jump into it. Okay, so first let's talk about the one that's been on the market the longest. This is the Warbonnet Ridge Runner. Now I did say this is the new improved version, and the difference is mainly the attachment points where the spreader bars actually go through. But they've done a couple other things. A lot of people were doing mods to put rings on the inside where these pullouts are on the bug net, and then adding their own ridge line. Well, what they did was they added the ring on the inside so that now you don't have to do a mod, cut a hole through the bug net and put something in there. The loop is already there. Now they don't install a ridge line. I've gone ahead and installed one on here, and I'll show you guys what I did with that in a little bit. But that's the main thing. The other thing is they went with a new fabric, a little bit heavier fabric, but it's got a better feel and a lot of people really like it. So that's that. Those are the main differences. It's still got the suspension the same, it's still got the same lay, it's still got those saddlebags on each side that people love. And so that's the main piece. Setup on both of these is pretty similar. I would say that it's the edge goes slightly to the Banyan on setup because all you have to do is continuous loops through, set them up, and you're done once you put the spreader bars in. This one, you have one extra step, and that is attaching the two end pieces. These two shock corded pieces go up to your continuous loop area and pull out the bug net. The bug net's not automatically suspended. So that's the biggest difference in setting them up. So really, setup is similar. You can use the same type of suspension. Actually, the spreader bars are nearly identical. So if you were to have a set of the Ruta carbon poles like I do, you can swap them out between both sets, no problem. They're the same width, so everything there would work out just fine. As a matter of fact, when I ordered my Ruta ones, I actually let him know what they were, and he said, oh, they're exactly the same as the Warbonnet ones, and so that's what they sent me. So one thing that the Ridge Runner does have that the Banyan does not offer is a double layer. And so what that does is on the foot end, it opens up and you actually can slide a pad in between the two layers and it's gonna stay put. And a pad actually works really well with a bridge hammock. So it's a viable option, a lot better than say a gathered end. But I don't actually use one. I really definitely prefer the comfort that an underquilt provides. Both of them have a very, very similar shape, and so the same underquilt that works for one, that's actually cut and designed for one, works for the other. So Loco Libre, they do one called the Ridge Reaper, based off of the Ridge Runner, and it actually fits just as well, if not better, on the Banyan than it does on the Ridge Runner. Now, for storage options, on the Warbonnet, you have these sidecars, and there's one on each side. And so you can see it's kind of this weird kidney-shaped thing where you can drop things in, and they'll be there. Now they're gonna migrate either to this section here or this section here, even if you set them right in the middle. Unless there's something wide that kind of drape over, they end up migrating into one of these two pockets here. This one's actually a little bit more difficult to get to when you're in there, but not horrible. There are there are ridgeline organizers that you can get. And if you go ahead and put up a ridgeline in here, you could use one, but you've got to be really careful about what you put on there. I like to use my hang time hook, and even the hang time hook is a little bit heavy with my phone for this ridgeline. And the reason is that the pullouts that actually suspend the ridgeline are on shock cord. And so any amount of weight is just gonna pull it down, and it's not really gonna be effective for hanging very much. So you can get away with like a hang time hook, maybe something like a small, really light ridgeline organizer that you would put like maps, maybe your keys or something like that in, but much else, and you're weighing that thing down and it's pulling down. So I added this one in here. Let me see if I can pull this back a little bit and show you guys. So right here on both ends, they added a little loop. And so that little ring that's on there, I knotted a line. I ran it through on this end so that it's hard pointed on that end, and then came down to the foot end, and I ran a prusik through, and then went through the loop, so that way if I wanted to loosen this up, I can loosen it up. If I needed to tighten it up to try and get a little bit more because I had something weighted in there, I can do that, and it kind of makes it a little bit more adjustable, a little bit more. It can take up some of that tension that's in the shock cord and keep it from dropping. Now, the one thing that I have noticed when comparing the two and laying in both of them is that the Ridge Runner only has that one set of zippers. So you have one set of zippers, which means you can either set it to get in and out of one side or the other side, but you can't be opening up both sides simultaneously. I mean, you could unzip the whole thing and slide it down and slide it off. That's not a big deal. But to actually get in one side and then just kind of reach out the other side, you've got to actually slide the zippers around to that side, open it up, then get out, or reach out, then slide the zippers back around to the side that you're getting in and out of, which is kind of a pain. I'll admit, after having the availability of zippers on both sides, that becomes a little bit of a pain for you. Now, there's one other place in here that you could actually call storage, and it's at the head end. So here's your head end, and right here, this fabric here actually drops down in. So if you had a hat on or something, maybe a beanie, and it got a little bit warm in the middle of the night, you could take the beanie off, slide it behind your head, and it falls down into this trough right here, and it'll stay there. Same with like gloves or something. So it is a convenient spot for something like that you're gonna wanna get to if it cools off and know exactly where it is. It's just right behind your head, just grab it. And that's kind of nice. Other than that, that's about the storage that's on this thing. So you've got your two side pockets or your two saddlebags, and then this little pocket back here. And that's about it, unless you attach a ridge line and do something there. But again, because of this being shock cord, you have to pay attention to how much weight you're putting in there. Okay, so on the foot end, one of the things you'll notice is that the zipper comes around and it hits this strip right here. So there's a Grosgain strip that's sewn in, and that's as far as this zipper can go. And you can go to this spot on both sides, but that's as far as it goes. And at that point, if you disconnect the head end, well, and you can disconnect the foot end, you can roll up your bug net and tie it off down here and go topless, but the bug net is always with you. You can't take it completely off, which means you can't replace it with the top cover. Now, there is a spindrift cover. It's a sock that goes on that has a doored zipper or a zipper door on it that you can buy, and that does help out and give you it gives you a lot of coverage. Actually, it gives you both top coverage and underquilt coverage, and is great for winter, and is a great addition to add to something like this. But what it does is it shows that there's a little less flexibility. It's harder to vent something like that, and you're kind of stuck with the whole thing or nothing. Also down at the foot end, this is where I was talking about it is open for a pad to go in. So this is the double layer design, so you can just slide a pad in there. The other thing that you will notice is how deep the foot side is. Now, that is quite considerably deeper than the Banyan. So why don't we go over and take a look at the Banyan and talk about some of the things about the Banyan, and then we'll lay in both of them and compare. Okay, so this is my Dutchware gear Banyan. This is what I've been getting out in quite a bit recently. And the one thing, the really big design difference between this and the Ridge Runner are these right here. These two lines that come up and hook to these two little pieces up here, these are dual ridge lines. And so what that does is it really opens it up inside. You don't have to have anything external connected to pull your bug net out. It just holds it up off of you. And when you get down in there and the ridge lines actually tighten up to the tightness, the tautness that they're supposed to be at, it creates a really nice open environment in there. Great thing about bridge hammocks is just how much of the world you can see. You can actually look out on both sides and see out, whereas in a gathered end, you may be able to see out one side, but on the other side, that wall comes up and is super high, and there's no seeing out of it without reaching and grabbing and bending. With these, you can just lay in them and see the world and experience things and see it. And so having a tarp pretty high and wide and being able to see out, especially when you're out camping with other people and being able to talk and see them, I think is a really cool thing and a great feature of a bridge hammock. But these two ridge lines are actually real ridge lines. They're connected hard point, and so you can hang stuff off of them. I've got this cool organizer in here that we'll take a look at. I do my hang time hook on one. I hang my headlamp on another. I've also got other pockets in there that we hang stuff from. But general setup is pretty much exactly the same as any other hammock out there. So it has continuous loops on either end. You run your suspension through that, tighten it up. You throw in your bridge hammock spreader bars, same as you would on the Ridge Runner, and it is done. You get it tightened up to the point, it's a little bit more of a flat lay, a little bit tighter across, not the 30 degree, it's more like a 15 to 20 degree. Get in, everything tightens up, and it's good to go. So one of the cool touches that really aid in setting this thing up, getting it out of the bag and getting it hung up without adding like a streamer or something to one side that tells you which is the head end, is this right here. So on the head end, there is a red tab, and on the foot end, there's a green tab. And so all you have to do is open up your bag, pull it out a little bit, take a look, see which side you've got a hold of, and run that to the tree that you have either the foot or the head end at, depending on which one you grabbed. Now along the outside of this hammock, at various spaces, there are D-rings. And those D-rings are strategically placed to correspond with accessories that Dutchware gear has. Now things that are available for the Chameleon that you can hang outside, like water bottle holders or little pouches, can attach to these. There's also D-rings on the corner that you can use for attaching something like my Loco Libre Ridge Reaper. Attaches perfectly to these D-rings on the corners. Now if you're running a different type of hammock or a different type of underquilt, these little metal pieces here, these titanium pieces that the spreader bar goes through, has a little line in there that you run the lines of your suspension on a regular gathered end type underquilt through, tighten up your suspension, and it cinches it up and holds it in a really good spot, and that works really well. So it kind of serves dual purpose as being for your spreader bars and also a good attachment point for a normal underquilt suspension. So as I had mentioned before, this has zippers on both sides. So there's a set of zippers over here so I can open it up, get in and out this side, and over here I have a set of zippers as well that I can open up and get out through or open it completely up. Now the zippers terminate at the tab where I showed the red on the head end and the green on the foot end, and you can zip this completely off and take it completely off, or you can zip it down to one end, roll it down, slide it down off of the ridge lines. The ridge lines have these cool little pieces of titanium gear that run through the suspension that you can actually disconnect. So you can take it completely off, you can take the suspension off, you can take off the one end of the suspension, slide the top cover or the bug net completely off and slide a top cover on. I do have a top cover for this as well, and it's vented. There's a door on it. So, I mean, there's a lot of variability there. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys is storage options. So let's get it opened up and take a look at some of the storage. Just like any of the other Dutchware gear, like the Chameleon, the accessories that he has and that they've developed to go with it are growing by the day. They've used the same zipper system in here as they did with the Chameleon so that they can do things like sidecars and be able to put pockets that extend. You don't have to open up the zipper to get to. You'll just be able to reach out and get a lot like the saddlebags on the Ridge Runner. But right now what I have in here, I have 2 pieces installed right now. I actually have 2 more at home. I've got a side pouch that goes on here, and I also have a foot end storage organizer. But right now I've got this organizer that clips into the D-rings that are internal. So there's D-rings not only on the outside but also on the inside, and you can clip things like this organizer to. And it's got a bunch of different pockets so you can keep your stuff organized, slide your headlamp, hat, whatever into there, and have it just kind of ready. The other piece, which I really like, is on this Ridgeline right here, is this Ridgeline organizer. So it's like any standard Ridgeline organizer with pockets that hang down. Those are on both sides, but the best part for me is this loft area. So between the 2 Ridgelines, there is this loft piece that you can set stuff on. So what I like to do is I'll actually have my my hang time hook hanging here with my phone on it, and then I'll set my battery bank up here and run the cable around to my phone, and so it can charge while I'm watching, or as I sleep I don't have to take it down, I just leave it there charging. And it's a great spot to put like electronics and keep them charging, and the heat that comes off of me comes up and keeps everything a little bit warmer at night. Also a good place to put your water filter. Put it in a bag or something, put it up there, even though it's with electronics. Keeping it a little bit warm on those cooler nights is a wise thing to do. So one of the things I wanted to show are these connection points. So this is through the suspension on either end, and this is where the ridge lines attach. So you can see the ridge lines are actually separate, and you can just kind of pull them off like that. So you just circle it over, put it over the top of this, pull it down in, and it locks in place, and now your ridge line's on. So if you wanted to take off the entire top cover, you just take this, pull it through here, take it off. Do that on both of them, slide the cover off, and then you can reattach this and have the ridge lines on with no cover on at all. So cool little piece, little design right there. Okay, so now for really the important part. Who cares about all the accessories, all the features, if you don't like the way that they feel when you lay in them? So let's lay in both of them and talk about kind of my thoughts on that. Zip this around to here. I'm just gonna throw this up over the top just to kind of get it out of the way a little bit. Now the one thing that I will say that I do notice is I talked about how much lower the foot end is, and that actually relieves a lot of the pressure on the feet because it actually kind of goes down towards the feet a little bit and provides a really nice flat lay. Get up a little bit higher, up towards the head end. Not bad as far as shoulder squeeze goes. Tightness in the middle is about the same on both of them. I don't know why. But I will tell you that this one definitely feels tippier. It feels a lot more tip happy than the Banyan. Now I've got the side pockets here. Like I said, getting into the, let me unzip this a little more, slide it over further. Let's try that. There we go. Like I said, getting into this end is pretty easy. Getting down here, you've actually got to kind of roll to get my hand all the way in there. And with this thing feeling kind of tip happy, it's not a very comfortable feeling. Like rolling onto my side, it feels a lot less stable. Like it really truly feels a lot less stable, and the setup is normal. It's good. Not saying you can't do it. I mean, you absolutely can. Going to my stomach here. Well, Yeah, it's doable. Now, I will say, laying on my back, just laying here on my back, which is how I sleep almost 90% of the time I'm in my bridge hammock, that is really, really comfortable. I mean, really nice. It's not until I go to shift to get something out of here, or I go to lay on my side, that I feel how tippy it feels. But just laying here, it feels great. I mean, like, really great. I like that it's a little bit deeper in the foot end. That makes a pretty big difference, actually. Let's go lay in the Banyan and see if I still think that, you know, let's feel the tippiness. Let's feel how it feels right now. Let's go. All right, so now we're over at the Banyan. Let's give this one a try. First thing you notice is you've got the ridge lines you've got to get under. Not a big deal. Now I do notice the foot end. I notice that it doesn't fall down as far as the other, and it kind of puts me more at a little bit less flat lay, actually. But it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad at all. And actually, if I lower the foot end just slightly, I think I'd be in about the same position and feel just as good. Move back a couple more inches. There we go. Yeah, laying on my back is nice. Now, here's the thing. Like, when I go to get on my side in this one, it feels pretty stable. It doesn't feel like it's gonna tip. It doesn't feel like it's bucking me out. It just feels a lot more stable. Yeah, it's swinging around, but it definitely doesn't feel as tippy to me. So laying on my side is relatively easy. Feels good. Rolling around to my stomach, I actually feel a little bit better. And this is weird. It seems like it should be the opposite way. I think it feels better on my stomach in this one. And while pretty even, maybe slightly better on my back in the other one. But the stability that I feel in this one is just so much more, that it's that comfort factor that really sets the two apart. It's the big differing factor for me, is just the comfort, the comfort that you get, the peace of mind that you get from feeling stable in it. I mean, at no point when I'm rolling does this thing feel like it's gonna tip me and buck me out, whereas the other one, the Ridge Runner, definitely had that tippy, about to throw me out type feeling. Okay, so I just went ahead and lowered the foot end about 2 more inches just to see. And that really did make a big difference with the way that my feet feel. So it's just a matter of getting it set up right to get them to feel very equal, very even on the back. You know, width-wise, right at the hips, they're about almost exactly the same. The shape is the same. You know, it's great. You can lay in both of them and look out and see whatever you want. It's just kind of nice. Bridge hammocks just provide a little bit of a different experience for you. So having come out here to do this, to set both of them up, lay in them, roll around in them, show you guys the features of both of them, which is the better one? Well, I'll say this. If you already own one of these, either one, if you have the Ridge Runner, whether it's this newer version or the older version, or you were one of the fortunate people that got one of the Banyans before some of the supply issues came up with COVID, you've got the right hammock. I don't care whether you've got the Banyan or you've got the Ridge Runner. If you own one of these and you enjoy laying in it, you've got the right hammock. I own the Banyan. I'm not gonna go buy a Ridge Runner. If I had a Ridge Runner, I would not go out and buy a Banyan. They are so evenly matched. Yes, there's pluses on one side and minuses on the other, and pluses on this side and minuses on this side. They all kind of weigh each other out, and it's all personal preference. If you let's put it this way. If you aren't going to use an underquilt and you're going to use a pad, I think that the Ridge Runner is the way to go because it has the double layer and you can slide that pad in there and it's going to be there. I think that is a big feature for that. If you're going to use an underquilt and you want it to be positioned perfectly, the D-rings and the suspension, the hardware that's on there on the Banyan sets it up really, really well for that. I'm not exactly sure how you get it set up quite as well on the Ridge Runner if you're using a normal, not a design like a Lynx or a Ridge Reaper. I don't know how you get it set up quite as well as you can on this one because of the hardware that's on there. Weight, materials, I mean, they're all very, very similar. It's kind of a, which do you prefer? Problem is right now, the Banyan's not really available. So if you're looking for a bridge hammock, I think that, hey, this is on the market and it feels good. Now, I will caution you that if you don't like things that feel tippy, this one for me did feel a lot more tippy than this one. And so maybe if that's something that's a concern for you, it's a reason to wait around for the Banyan to become available again before you make your purchase decision. If you can get the chance to try both out like I did, then you'll be able to get to see the pluses and minuses for yourself. This was just my opinion. Take it, leave it. If you've got one, stick with it. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's it for today. If you have any questions, any comments, anything I didn't cover on this, leave them in the comment section down below. If you haven't done so before, hit that subscribe button. Right next to it, there will be a little bell icon. If you hit that, you'll get notifications every time I upload a video. See you guys on the trip.